Good day and welcome. This is the news at 12 on Mitv. I am Tomisi Adebukola. Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo has disclosed his romance with some presidential candidates and political parties is not an indication he has a preferred candidate for the 2023 presidential elections, but that he has a national agenda. He said as an elder statesman, he has no anointed candidate or a preferred political party, but an agenda for his country. This made known in Minna, Niger State, after having separate closed-door meetings with former military president General Ibrahim Babangida and General Abdulsalami Abubakar at their uphill residence at Minna on Sunday. He had at different fora had consultations with the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi and the All Progressive Congress presidential candidate Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the prominent Nigerians also from other political parties had met with him. He first arrived at about 12:30 p.m. on Sunday and drove straight to the General Abdulsalami residence, where he had a closed-door meeting for about 30 minutes before proceeding to the house of General Ibrahim Babangida. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project SERAP has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to direct the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, to provide the organization with a copy of the agreement the federal government recently signed with the United States for the repatriation of $23 million stolen by the late General Sani Abacha. The United States government had last week signed an agreement with the federal government to repatriate $23 million Abacha loot to Nigeria. In the letter signed by SERAP Deputy Director Kolawole Uluwadare, the organization said by the combined reading of the Nigeria Constitution 1999 as amended, the Freedom of Information Act and the country's international obligations, there are transparency obligations imposed on the federal government to widely publish the agreement on the $23 million Abacha loot. SERAP said providing it with a copy of the agreement with the U.S. and publishing the agreement would allow Nigerians to scrutinize it and to monitor the spending of the repatriated $23 million Abacha loot to ensure the money is not mismanaged, diverted, or stolen. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives Committee on Finance has discovered $33 million contradiction in the figure released by the transmission company of Nigeria, TCN, as power generated by Azura Power Generation Company. The chairman of the committee, James Falike, investigating alleged breaches of the agreement in the power sector and the perennial power failure in Nigeria, charged TCN for inability to detail the committee with satisfactory responses. It would rather recall that the probe was informed by the proposed sale of the Nigeria Integrated Power Project NIPP by the Bureau of Public Procurement BPP. Our House of Representatives correspondent Linda Ike reports Azura Power Company signed a $33 million take-or-pay contract with Embed for power generation of 450 megawatts to the national grid, but records by the TCN shows a far cry from that figure.
Not only Azura, by directing companies. That's why you are here before us. Embed was here on Friday, and they will still be here tomorrow or so. So it's not closed. I'm only asking you from your own function as an evacuator of power, what power you have been evacuating from a 450 power generation company. We have not gone into other power generation companies. We've not gone to transport, we've not gone to, like what you said, all the rest. Just one. And you know why we are concerned, sir? We are concerned that Nigerians are willing to be to set up industries. They are willing to set up industries. I'm sure you have children who are graduates without job. I'm sure you have, or you have put them in TCS. So they are willing to set up industry, but there's no power. And there's no power, but yet we are paying huge sum of money. This is just the issue, nothing more. Not witch hunting, nothing.
The market operator is the man that administers the fund that is being generated in the whole power sector. So he decides what goes to TCN, he decides what goes to all the generating companies. So they are more or less independent. That is why that is what that independence denies. So that is where they derive their name from. So
they are not being supervised by your office or by your MP.
They are being supervised by the MD. They are being supervised by the MD.
What we have given to you here are the figures TCN has evacuated right from the inception in December 2017. That's when they commenced the operation.
So in other words, you cannot tell me this 1,755,900. You cannot tell me how many megawatts. You don't know.
I know, Chairman, 1,755.9 megawatts. That is what it is. It is not any other.
When you sign an agreement of 450 megawatts.
Yes.
But there is an average consumption demand of the people who use Azura's services. What is that average consumption demand?
The National Human Rights Commission has said that Nigerians should be intentional in attaining overall peace and development as a way towards promoting the effective implementation of citizens' human rights and media freedom. The representative of the Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, Jenny Toye, stated this while speaking at the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project first semi-annual Civic Space Monitor and 14-point program titled Shrinking Civic Space, Growing Assault on Freedom of Expression and Media Freedom in Nigeria. This took place in Lagos. Jenny also stated that the right to protest has suffered in the hands of government, while the mass media also suffers repression. The majority of Nigerians receive the downside of losing the power to speak out. A lecturer from the Faculty of Law, University of Lagos, Dr. Funmi Bumi Afinowo, said it was the responsibility of government to safeguard human rights.
In December 2018, the Director General of the Budget Office in the Presidency, Ben Akabwezi, said publicly, and you can Google, that MDAs are indebted to the country to the tune of 10 trillion naira. 10 trillion. Not a dime has been paid. But let's get the appropriate agencies to do their work. The Office of the Auditor General has been reduced to an NGO.
To state that a joint assessment by the federal government of Nigeria and World Bank in 2019 on the public expenditure and financial accountability assessment indicates that there are overall remarkable improvements, particularly in the areas of comprehensiveness, transparency, tax administration, internal controls, and budget credibility.
Records of government activities are made open unless it involves security of the country. Accountability plays a key role in improving performance at institutions, organizations, and at individual levels. Hence, the theme of this event, promoting transparency and accountability in ministries, departments, and agencies in Nigeria, is a quest to promote good governance.
The audit law itself is, while it's not a perfect law, has not really been adhered to by the MDAs, and even constitutional provisions on auditing has not really been adhered to. So while we can say that there is a gap in the laws, but it is more of the political will to obey the laws, the legislation we have.
Due to scarcity of land in Nigeria, the Lagos State government has embarked on vertical construction of buildings for housing purposes, which will ultimately assist in meeting the target of increase in number of houses for the ever-increasing population. The State Commissioner for Housing, Akinderu Fatai, stated this in Ikeja while he was speaking during an interactive session with journalists on the construction sector, pointing the effort of the state towards direction would yield the desired result. He said the state government has called on the federal government for support towards increasing housing need in Lagos. The commissioner pointed out there are about 33 housing construction sites across the state, adding the state government was working hard to get Lagos to the bigger level in the housing sector. He said it is clear that more houses were needed in the state, but the budget allocation cannot meet their target, as building of houses in Lagos is naturally expensive, prompting the need for the federal government to assist.
The size of Lagos is so small, and that's the reason why we have to go vertical. Building vertically is expensive. So what is the essence of building vertically now when you don't have the technology in place that will make the housing to come, the price will be at the range that we projected is easy. Look at average income and look at the cost that it will come. We are looking at the challenges. We are also looking at the solutions. And then the solution, that's why I mentioned that we are trying to see how we can build in the mortar. The mortar is a new place where we have rice mill, so many things to come up there. So we have to meet up with those needs that are coming, and we are trying to bring up a huge.
The Lagos State government says it will continue to provide an enabling environment for cooperative societies to thrive in the state in order to enable societies contribute to economic development. Similarly, cooperative societies would also need to always comply with democratic principles in choosing their leaders, as failure may lead to preventable crises. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Cooperatives, Adetutu Oshosoya, stated this at the 2022 retreat of the Etiosa Multipurpose Cooperative Union with the theme, Maximizing the Cooperative Business Model in Lagos. She said the government is being proactive by revising the State Cooperative Mediation Panel to settle disputes within the cooperative societies. Oshosoya also tasked cooperative societies to take advantage of the micro, small and medium enterprises, just as the president of the State Cooperative Federation, Lascofed, Oladipo Shobole, and the president of Etiosa MCU, Aderoku Adekunpelu, made a case for cooperative societies to imbibe modern trends towards global standards.
It is imperative to note that several business opportunities abound in Lagos State that registered cooperative societies could leverage on for economic growth. The ministry has been providing support to the micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, operating in the state and willing to support cooperatives that venture into production businesses as well.
It's only in a situation or an environment where we have peace. When we have peace within the society, we have peace within the management, we have peace between the management and the members of the society. That is only when the society can progress. So I urge, I advise and admonish our cooperative societies to allow peace to reign within their society so that the society can make progress. The leadership of the society can also better provide the needs of the members.
Considering the theme for this year that have been set aside by the Lagos Cooperative Federation, that is mathematical cooperative business model. We engage in small-scale businesses like the agricultural produce, most of the manufacturing industry. We find that the cooperative are part of this process, thereby contributing a major role, a major economic role to in Lagos State and Nigeria as a whole.
We are saying that cooperative has gone beyond the initial one of only the farmers or the poor. No, in cooperative now, we have seen it that it is a module of a business that is even worth of using for the development of the country. Because in cooperative, we are not just ordinary owners. We own our business, we patronize our business, and we add value to the whole system.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll bring you stories from the foreign scene. Welcome back. Clashes between militias backed by Libya's rival governments have killed at least 23 people and wounded dozens more, according to the country's health ministry. The fighting in Libya's capital Tripoli was the worst there in 2 years and has raised fears the country could plunge back into full-blown war. The United Nations has called for an immediate stop to hostilities in Libya following a day of deadly clashes between political factions in the capital Tripoli. Libya has been in chaos since the NATO-backed uprising in the 2011 year that ousted long-serving ruler Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Pakistan is appealing for further international assistance as floods devastate the country, leaving people searching for higher, drier ground. The National Disaster Management Authority said the death toll from the monsoon rains has reached 1,033, with 119 killed in the previous 24 hours. The United States, the United Kingdom, the United Arab Emirates, and others have contributed to a disaster appeal, but more funds are needed. Pakistan's government is doing everything it can to help. The Interior Ministry official Simon Sufi said the country was desperate for international support. And Iran says its review of the United States' response to a European Union drafted text to restore the 2015 nuclear deal will take more days as Qatar continues to mediate. An outlet affiliated with the Supreme National Security Council of Iran, No News, said in a tweet on Sunday that reviewing the U.S. response at expert levels is ongoing and will take at least until the end of the week. The working week in Iran ends on Friday, so as a response appears unlikely before the 2nd of September. Iran had sent its response to the European text earlier this month, and Washington submitted its own feedback to the text on Wednesday, more than a week after the Iranian response. Coming up next on the news at 12 is sports stories. We'll be back. Welcome. Harry Kane missed a penalty but scored twice to surpass 200 league goals in his career and gave Tottenham Hotspur a 2-0 victory at Nottingham Forest that kept up their strong starts to the Premier League season. Forest, who have signed 17 players for about £150 million since promotion, made the early running before Spurs' prolific striker silenced the crowd with a low 5th-minute strike from inside the penalty area. Kane then uncharacteristically missed the penalty before making amends with a close-range header in the 81st minute. That was his 201 club goal. That's 201st club goal, 187 in the Premier League and 9 in the Champions and 5 in the League One. Spurs' third victory in 4 games plus 1 draw left them third in the Premier League on 10 points, 2 points behind North London rivals Arsenal, who have had a flawless start. And elsewhere, Wolves defender Willy Boly scored a dramatic late equaliser as Newcastle were denied a precious victory in the battle against relegation from Premier League. Rafael Benitez's visitors are paired on course to move 3 points clear of the relegation zone courtesy Isaac Hayden's earlier strike at Molinox. But as the game drifted beyond the minimum 4 minutes allocated for added time, Boli climbed above Newcastle goalkeeper Martin Dubravka to head in Adama Traore's lofted cross. Newcastle's players and manager furiously appealed for a foul, with the former Puerto defender appearing to have both hands on Dubravka. However, referee Graham Scott waved away their protests. That's it on the news at 12 on MITV. We'll bring you more in our subsequent bulletin. To join us for today's news update at 6 o'clock. I am Tomi Singh at Tebukola. Good morning.